Why, hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? It's been quite a while since I've done something like this, but yeah, this seemed too interesting to pass up. So, not too much going on other than, well, il- our friend Nicholas Robert Rekieta finally find out what was going to happen to him about 11 months after her, after he fucked around. He has fucked around and he has finally found out. Now, isn't that fun? Isn't it fun indeed? So, yeah, I'm just kind of giving a little bit of time for somebody for people to show up. Originally, I was going to be just I was going to be sharing some of the stuff before he streamed, and then I was going to stream snipe him. But his to be announced turned into, well, who knows? Because he said to be announced like around noon today, and we're in the same freaking time zone. And then I saw him say about 10 hours ago that he was going to announce when soon. I don't think that we have the same definition of soon, do we? So, yeah. Now, him deciding to not stream or wait until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the freaking morning isn't going to stop me from actually covering this. Now, I would like to actually wait to cover it for some people to actually show up, but if not, I guess then I will start covering it myself without anybody here, and people can just see it on the playback. That is always a possibility. But yeah, so, well, I guess I will start going. Oh well. Well, anybody who wants me to start over at any point, well, not start over, but summarize what I've already gone through, they can let me know, and then I will do so. Okay then. Oh yes, and just so everybody knows, I am partaking of some fine, hard apple cider. This is one of those things that Mr. Nicholas Robert Rekieta will not be allowed to partake in for like 5 years. And that is why you can see the thumbnail that I made, because he is on probation. But that's getting ahead of us, isn't it? That's getting ahead of ourselves now, isn't it? So give me a moment, and I'm going to pull up what his lawyer sent in response to the pre-sentencing suggestions that the state had made, and we're just going to read through that. Do, 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 do. So I've got a whole bunch of the tabs open. The biggest thing is figuring out which one is which. To be completely honest with you, 723. Okay, 723-0063. Yep, that's it. Okay, so here we go. This is the state of Minnesota, county of Candido County. Yeah, county of Candido. Sorry. Versus Nicholas Robert Rekieta. Pertinent facts. Mr. Rekieta, hereinafter defendant, stands convicted of possession of 10 grams or more of a narcotic drug other than heroin or fentanyl, or drugs in the third degree, i.e., Nick had a buttload of cocaine. Defendant entered a guilty plea. As part of the guilty plea, the defendant received a statutory stay of adjudication. And just to be clear, this is being written and by Nick's attorney. This is not the court. This is not the court. So the remaining terms of the sentence are at the court's discretion. Well, it isn't that big of them to admit. A presentence investigation report was ordered and has been filed with the court. The PSIR notes that the defendant falls in the low risk category for general recidivism in comparison to other individuals with similar characteristics. Defendant will need to demonstrate positive pro-social adjustment in the following areas in order to reduce the potential for recidivism: the leisure, recreation, and alcohol/drugs. That's kind of what this is about. The PSIR notes that the conditions, programming, and interventions contained in the recommendations section of this report are meant to aid the subject in successfully addressing these areas while promoting public safety. Additionally, I can say share this tab instead. Nice. Additionally, the legislature has the exclusive authority to define crimes and offenses and the range of the sentences or punishments for their violation. No other or different sentence or punishment shall be imposed for the commission of a crime than is authorized by this chapter or other applicable law. Okay. And one sec. The PSIR recommends that the defendant serve 30 days in jail, credit for 2 days served from May 23rd to May 24th. However, this recommendation is not borne out by any specific facts in PSIR. It seems more that this is boilerplate language inserted in the report rather than the considered and reasoned recommendation of a trained probation agent. Yeah, I would probably guess that that's true. Indeed, it is hard to conceive how this recommendation is meant to aid in successfully addressing those areas while promoting public safety. Jail should be reserved as sanction for violation of probation condition and not as a workaround by a state for the stay of adjudication defendant received. Honestly, that looks more like an opinion to me than anything else. And the length of probation appears to be a similar problem. The PSR recommends a total of probation of 5 years. Spoiler alert, that's what he was given. However, again, no facts in PSR support the recommended length of probation. Instead, the recommendation appears wholly conclusory. Similarly, it is hard to conceive how this recommendation is meant to aid the subject in successfully addressing those areas while promoting public safety. Well, my thoughts on that are that maybe, just possibly, if after Nick pleaded guilty, he hadn't mocked the idea that there was a problem, and he hadn't mocked the cocaine issues, and he hadn't mocked going to the substance abuse those trainings, like which wasn't Alcoholics Anonymous exactly, but he went to some outpatient stuff, and then he made fun of it. So maybe, just maybe, this recommendation is maybe meant to aid the subject in successfully addressing those areas because they don't think that he is paying attention to those areas in the first place. So maybe if we give him longer, he'll have more time to think about it. That's my thought. Additionally, the court may defer further proceedings and place the person on probation upon such reasonable conditions as it may require for a period not to exceed the maximum sentence provided for the violation. However, in this case, the recommended deferral period is 21 months. And it would defy both logic and common sense to defer adjudication for 21 months while simultaneously placing defendants on probation for a period of 60 months. Well, maybe Nick shouldn't have been an absolute dick to them. I'm sorry. When your fate is in the hands of people and you have pled guilty, okay. Yeah, my headset decided to be a dick. Sorry. But I was just saying that maybe, just maybe, when when your fate is in the hands of people after you have pled guilty but haven't been sentenced yet, maybe you should maybe you should play nice. I mean, am I weird in thinking that that would just be the smart thing? This goes along with what I and many others have said to him throughout the last year. Shut the fuck up. As the letters submitted with the sentencing memorandum demonstrate, which, by the way, I have the letters and I will be going through them. And defendant is a very active member of his community. He has continued to be active and involved in his church during the pendency of these charges. Oh, but you should hear what he has had to say about his church. That's funny. Defendant is currently restricted from the practice of law despite having a Minnesota attorney registry number. I looked this up. The reason why he is currently restricted from the practice of law is, first, he forgot to pay his dues, which he fixed, and then he just fell behind on his continuing legal education credits. That's why he is currently restricted from his practice of law. So what's their point? That has nothing to do with this. So 14? Okay. As the PSR noted, defendant's business allowed him to directly donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to charity and indirectly $1 million plus by encouraging my audience. Oh, now some of that should be interesting. In this case, in Kentucky, County Community Corrections has failed to deliver to this court an adequate presence investigation report. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it wasn't adequate. Just saying. Just saying. Very little in the PSR reflects anything that would be considered a reasoned conclusion that aids the court in properly sentencing the defendant. And accordingly, this court should stay adjudication and place defendant on probation for a period of 12 months. Now, wouldn't they prefer 12 months as opposed to who for 5 years? Yes, they would. And then the last part of this is them signing it. Francis White Law, PLLC, attorney for defendant. Now, I don't have a lot to say about this, but I got a little bit. Apparently, he, Nicholas Robert Rekieta was put in contact with Francis White through uh, uh, his friend and Robert Barnes. I find Robert Barnes interesting, but everything that Robert Barnes has had to say about this case, and I'm very close to mean it if I were to say literally everything that Robert Barnes has had to say on this case, has been complete and utter bullshit. And Nick found this attorney in the locals for Robert Barnes. So yeah. Okay, now onto these letters. Now this one, let's see, this one, yes, this one was written by Megan Fox, by Megan Fox writer. She is a YouTuber who has collaborated with Nick on quite a few occasions. I'm going to have some comments during this, which, by the way, I have not read any of these letters myself. I have heard one person read them. That was Kurt from Uncivil Law. But I was listening to him in the background, so there's a good chance that I'm going to hear things, that I'm going to read things that I did not actually hear before. Because, like I say, that was the background. Dear Judge Wenzel. Well, and Judge Wenzel is apparently the name of the person doing the sentencing hearing. I've known Nick Rekieta professionally and personally since 2022. Nick created an entirely new type of entertainment covering legal battles on YouTube that was wildly successful. Created? No. I would say that Nick popularized it. But I'm pretty sure that there were people doing this before he did. She talks about creating. Nick kind of... He was bored when Rittenhouse was coming up and decided that he was going to do it, and then threw out invites to other lawyers, and it took off. And don't understand me. It took off. It went like gangbusters. But there's others who have done this before. So saying that he created it, no. But did he popularize it to the point where other large or mainstream media even and it had to change what they're doing to compete? Yeah, he did. But I do kind of take a little bit of issue with created. His commitment to his work and his love of the law drove him to be one of the most successful law channels on YouTube. I would have to say that as far as his love of the law, he's stated that he does not like doing these court battles. Do with that what you will. And it drawing hundreds of thousands of people to engage in legal discussions. A lot of the people were coming for all of the different lawyers who were there, not just Nick. Nick facilitated it, and as I said, Nick popularized it. But they were coming for a lot more than just Nick. Nick's unique style of covering trials from gavel to gavel with humor, legal analysis, and irreverence led to multiple law channels getting notoriety and popularity. He definitely helped them. I wouldn't really say that he made them, but he helped them. The law became approachable for the average person through Nick's invention. Again, invention. Really? multiple people that joined his channel were already doing that. He made it so that they knew about those channels, but his invention, mm. Several channels became successful because of his model. An entire community known as LawTube grew out of Nick's influence. Yeah, I could actually show multiple videos where he talked about how he did not want to have anything to do with this thing called LawTube, and how he wanted nothing to do with LawTube. I could show a lot of that. So, Megan Fox, good job ignoring the fact that Nick despised people talking about LawTube being due to Nick. This led to many people becoming interested in the law, going to law school, becoming lawyers, making lifelong friends who shared interest in legal battles. I'm actually not going to disagree with too much of that. And changed the trajectory of many lives for the better, including mine. My channel is positively impacted by Nick's unique approach to online entertainment and his direct help and advice. Good for you, Megan. So far, I'm really not seeing anything in this that has anything to do with why he should get leniency. Like a vast majority of lawyers, Nick struggled with substance abuse. I can't comment on that, but vast majority of lawyers kind of sounds like you're claiming that more than 75% of lawyers struggle with substance abuse, because majority wouldn't mean over 50. Vast majority would imply to me like over 3/4. Just saying. I could be, but maybe you're right. I don't know. I would have to look up statistics myself, which I have not done. It is so widespread that every bar association has programs and resources for lawyers with substance abuse problems. Yeah, I work in a field where I help people with where I help people with special needs. Did you know that my field has programs and resources for people like me that might have a substance use problem? Did you know that? So, the stress of quickly attained fame and fortune is also often a catalyst for substance abuse, as widely acknowledged in the entertainment industry. Nick's meteoric rise to success no doubt played a role in his mistakes. Nick came from money. For anybody who didn't know, Nick came from money. I can explain how I know that if anybody needs me to. Nick has acknowledged he broke the law, has taken responsibility for it by pleading guilty to possession. Question: if you plead guilty, but at the same time make jokes about it and talk about how having drugs are fun and mock other people who are trying to get over their problems and say that quitting it is no problem, have you really taken responsibility for it? I'm not sure. Take that as you will. The community and his family would not be served by his incarceration, but would be served by his rehabilitation and his ability to get back to the job he loves, explaining the law to his audience while entertaining them and supporting his family. Yeah. I have to say that in at least the last half year of him before he got busted for his coke stream, he was not really explaining the law to anybody. He was talking about baldos. He was talking about trysts. He was talking about really anything but law. And he's like I mentioned a little bit ago, he's talked about how he really doesn't like court streams. So, yeah. Whatever you want to say, Megan. In the years I have known Nick, I have known him to be generous with his time and helpful to anyone who wanted to know how to be successful on YouTube. Now that's good. That's good of him. And to be honest, before that half year that I mentioned, he seemed to be a lot more like what she's describing here. So maybe it's just the substances. Maybe. But again, none of this seems to really apply to leniency. So he has a genuine desire to help others and has helped me on many occasions, whether it was to give advice about my channel or just to be a friend and listen when I needed someone to talk to. Nick is loyal, kind, empathetic, smart, and passionate about his work. He is a good friend, and good friends are rare. I'm glad to hear that you had a good friend, Megan. That is just completely a good thing. I have also witnessed Nick's interaction with his children and know they deeply love him and that they share a loving, lighthearted banter that only loved children have with their parent. Now, this actually does have something to do with the case at hand, because this is talking about him as a parent, and this does actually sound like it could have some bearing. Whether it should, that's not up to me to decide, but I can see this as being relevant, at least. It is unmistakable that they love him and he them. And from everything that I've heard from Kurt as an uncivil law, from Joe, from Megan Fox, from really anybody who ever visited Nick, every one of them has stated that he is one of the best fathers that they'd ever seen. So I have to give that to him. Nick is also the main caregiver to his children, responsible for all the transportation to school events and classes. His children would not be served by a separation from their father, and the state should not take a father from his children unless he is a danger to society, and it is the last option. Okay, now here I have to ask something. He's the main caregiver, does all that transportation, does the job of streaming. What does Kayla do? What does his wife do? I mean, his wife does not have a job. She does not stream. She doesn't have an external job. So stay-at-home mother. But he's the main caregiver. So Megan is basically saying that Kayla does nothing, right? Nick Rekieta is only capable of being a danger to himself. And I believe that he will recover and make better choices. Well, that's good for him. But if he is only capable of being a danger to himself, but he is also the main caregiver to his children, that de facto means he is a danger to his children. Do you understand that, Megan? He's responsible for all transportation to school events and classes. And what we are concerned about is him using drugs that are intoxicants like alcohol or things like cocaine. And so if he's only capable of being a danger to himself, and being capable of danger to himself means using those things, what about when he's responsible for transporting them to school events and classes? Did you think through the logic there, Megan? I don't think she did. So now, this is Nick's first offense against the law. It's his first offense against the law as far as drugs and alcohol. However, I could show multiple things they're traffic things and people will poo-poo that. But if I recall correctly, we're talking speeding like 90 miles or 100 miles in a 60-mile-an-hour area. So we're not talking going over 5 or 10 miles an hour. We're talking significant. So that's just false. It's not his first offense against the law. It's his first offense against this kind of law. And you believe he can recover. That's good. And the community should invest in helping him do that. Everyone deserves a second chance. Yeah, I get that. Many other people have completed diversionary programs and have recovered their lives. It's my belief that Nick Rekieta can recover his life and thrive after this unfortunate episode, which I remain hopeful is a temporary setback in an otherwise amazing career and future. I would hope so too. I hope the court sees the man I know and not the one gossiped about for cheap laughs, or the persona fighting back against the gossip publicly. The Nick I know is a man who loves his family, helps those around him, makes mistakes, and then inspires others to be good humans. Nick is also deeply remorseful of any harm or pain that he has caused to his children and his family. How the fuck would she know? How would she know? Is she in his head? The Nick that I have seen, the Nick that talks online, laughs about it. I haven't seen any of this deep remorse that she's talking about. Maybe she has behind the scene, but what he has shown publicly, I have not seen. Here we go. He may not discuss it publicly, but privately he is devastated. Okay, he may not discuss it publicly, but when publicly he shows the exact opposite, it's a little bit different. Many times, Nick used his platform to raise money for audience members in need of advertising their GoFundMe accounts. That's true enough. And nightly, he would talk to them about their struggles, including thoughts of self-harm. He always encouraged them to find something to smile about and try again. Yeah, then we have the infamous Dear John stream, where, admittedly, he was probably coked out on that one too. Maybe not as badly, but he was mocking one of the people that had reached out to him and that he had tried to help at the time. But he described the entire situation, and then he basically told him that he should kill himself. It's been a while since I watched the stream, but it wasn't good. I have heard from many individuals who told me Rekieta Law saved my life after reaching out to Nick at a dark time and finding someone who cared to respond. And I am so glad to those people. And that happened during the period that Nick actually was doing good. I pray the court will honor the plea agreement in this case and refer Nick Rekieta for probation. Sincerely, Megan Fox, author, journalist. And here's the thing. I've watched Nick Rekieta for quite a while. My wife, not quite as long as I have, but she was telling me about how when she was having troubles, watching him and how much he cared actually mattered to her, and that helped her through some dark times. And all of this, she is angry at Nick. I show it differently than she does. But I don't feel as betrayed as she does, but she feels betrayed. I'm just looking at all the stuff going, what the fuck happened? And I want Nick to get back to being the good person that he used to show us that he was. I have not seen the good person that he used to show that he was in a long time. But I would like to see it again. Okay, so this one is this letter is from his father. And for anyone who's here, if you have any questions, let me know. Because I've been following this for, well, as long as the actual court shit has been happening, but I've been following Rekieta since 2018, 2019. So, yeah. So, this one is from his letter from his father. Your Honor, I am writing today to put in some good words for Nick and Kayla. Oftentimes, in situations such as this, the bad is amplified and the good goes under the radar. First and foremost, I want to sing their praises as parents. As has been evident through this entire time and before, the kids are and have been thriving. They're healthy, smart, engaging, talented, polite, active, and participatory in their church and other activities. I have to mention, part of the reason why this stuff came to light was because of mandatory reporters in the church and their school. Yeah, just saying. Christian, who goes full time to CCS, is in his junior year as a straight A student and a member of the National Honor Society. He participates in drama, band, and debate. I'm not going to read the names. I shouldn't have read the first one. A and S go to CCS part-time and are also straight A students. They are also in drama as well as band and choir. They recently started taking Spanish classes at CCS. Except for C, the others are all homeschooled to some degree and advancing well. Them being homeschooled is a little bit of a concern, in fact, considering Nick Rekieta being the main caregiver. And yes, the charges against Kayla were dropped, but as far as we can tell, she was also partaking. So, just saying. C was homeschooled until he was accepted into CCS for his sophomore year. A also plays both JV and varsity soccer. While he's the smallest player on the varsity team, he has one of the biggest hearts and always gives the best. Isn't that what every parent basically says? All the kids play piano and violin, while the girls also take dance lessons. I mean, frankly, I don't see how any of this helps. With all these activities both in and out of school, Nick and Kayla provided the yeoman's work, getting them to and from school, sports, and activities. According to Megan Fox, Nick's the only one that does that, but who knows? There were times when we did a lot of driving while they were separated from the kids. We would be putting in 100 plus miles some days. Yeah. Does he mention why they were separated from the kids? Mm-hmm. Every time we heard Christy Barber speak of the kids, I have no clue who that is. She marveled at their intelligence, their talent, and their engagement and politeness. All of the kids are loving and respectful and cognizant of the feelings of others. That's great to hear. The kids' ability in school and as they progress through their homeschool curriculum is testament to Kayla's dedication and involvement in their growth. Good for her. That also has nothing to do with leniency for Nick. Nick and Kayla have also helped their family members. When they have been asked to loan them money, they readily do so. Good for that. I should correct myself. They don't actually loan them and money. They give it to them. So, is this a creative writing exercise for his dad? Because this isn't somewhere he was just talking or typing in a live chat. You can misspeak while typing, like something like this, and go, wait, no. But no, he wrote that and then went, no, I need to correct myself. They don't loan them money, they give it to them. They never ask for repayment. This makes it look like a creative writing exercise to me. Sorry, this just kind of invalidated almost this entire thing. This is a creative writing exercise for his father. This is not something that he is writing in for the truth of the matter. That's my opinion there. They've also been there for Kayla's siblings and their families as they navigate through tough patches in their lives. They have treated D&S to trips to Hawaii and Florida, as well as provided support during other family trips. Who cares? During family camp at Lake Beauty Bible Camp, Nick and Kayla rent one of the large dormitory types of cabins and invite their entire family to stay. Again, who cares? A couple of years ago, when CCS was short of money and needed parents to be responsible to provide costumes for the kids in the school play, Nick and Kayla anonymously stepped up and provided necessary funds so that no one had to pay. Good for them. And, well, not so anonymous now, huh? In addition, Nick and Kayla are regular supporters of Make-A-Wish Minnesota and Minnesota Zoo in Apple Valley. Well, great. So because you guys give to charity and because you guys give to money, he deserves leniency, apparently. Uh-huh. They've been active in their church community. The kids go to Wednesday night activities at the New London Faith Covenant Church every week. C and A go to Bible study Sundays evenings, and they also have various other church-related activities throughout the year. Good to know. They have participated in overnight weekend Christian-themed outings, and Christian has gone to mission trips both in and out of the country. Good for you. When Nick decided to go to law school, he had to drive into William Mitchell twice a week. He'd drive to class on Monday, drive to our house to spend the night, drive to class on Tuesday, and then back to Spicer. He would repeat the same drive for his Thursday class. All the while, Kayla supported him by holding down the fort at home with the kids. Their dedication to getting him through school was impressive, and it made us proud. Hello? All the while, Kayla supported him by holding down the fort at home with the kids. Their dedication to get him through school was impressive and made us proud when the Basta Bar's first attempt was subsequently scored in. Yet this same paragon of everything was unable to keep up his law fees over the last year and got and lost his ability to practice law due to that. Then after that was fixed, because everyone was roasting him for it, he's currently lost his ability to practice law again because he has not kept up on his continuing law education. So, yeah, aren't you so impressed by that too? So as you're talking about that and how impressed you are that he passed bar on first attempt and subsequently sworn in, your son is no longer authorized to practice law. But you're not going to mention that, are you? Once, Nick did a short on his video channel, on his YouTube channel. He responded to a question where he was asked what his best moment as a lawyer was. He talked about how a woman he knew was involved in a custody battle with her ex-husband. Many times during the child's weekends with his dad, he would come home with bruises. Other lawyers had tried to sever the father's custody and failed. Nick was able to get it done and get the child out of that hostile environment. Good for him. That's the son I know. That's the daughter-in-law I know. Regardless of their personal situations, they look out for others, their kids, their families, their friends, and that divorced mother who just wants a good life for her son, Robert Rekieta. And I hear a whole lot of noise, and I hear very little of anything that matters in that. And now we get to hear what his wife has to say. Dear Judge Wenzel, I'm writing today regarding Nicholas Rekieta from case number blah, blah, blah. I know there's a lot of information about him out there due to his internet presence, so I thought it might be beneficial to hear from someone who knows the actual man and not just a character from a show. I mean, good. But let's not forget that that up until not that long ago, she was a co-defendant in this stuff. She was also on the hook for all of this. So let's not forget that, shall we? Nicholas has been my best friend, life partner, and husband for the past 20 years. He is the father to our 5 amazing children. Everything I've ever heard about their children is great, by the way. From both his detractors, from both lawyers who, at this point, like Nick and lawyers who hate Nick. I've never heard any one of them say anything bad about the children or about Nick's interactions with the children. That really should be made clear. He is and has been the kind of man who will stop what he is working on personally to help people around him who are struggling. When our nanny quit suddenly in the middle of our school year, he became one of our main drivers, getting the kids to and from where they needed to go for all their activities. That begs the question, why did she quit suddenly? I don't know this for sure, but from what I have heard, the reason why she quit suddenly was because she didn't like what she was seeing happening between Nick, Kayla, and April. So, yeah. Anyway, the kids take a mix of homeschool classes and classes at CCS. They all take violin and piano lessons. Our boys are in speech. 2 of the kids play soccer. Our girls take dance classes. And all 5 kids are involved in church activities twice a week. Not counting any extra trips like doctor and dentist appointments, we leave our house to drive kids to classes and activities 4 to 12 times a day, depending on the day. There are even days that 2 drivers are necessary at the same time to bring different kids to different places. Nicholas has been my rock, helping me give our kids all the opportunities they can have. I could not raise our kids with the same diligence without him. In addition to helping me with the endless striving, he is our main chef. He cooks almost all of our meals, including the 11 p.m. request for our 17-year-old. I don't really see how that's really pertinent to anything, but that's cool. It's fun to watch his skills and creativity coming out in his dishes. The children and I are not the only people who have benefited from his generous heart. Several of my siblings, other family members, friends, and a church acquaintance have all been helped financially, without hesitation and without demand for repayment. He has used his online presence to help other people raise money that was needed in their lives for problems. His heart for other people shines through in those times. I know my husband made a mistake and broke the law, but it was just a mistake. A mistake. Yeah, a mistake that probably persisted for like a year long. And I'm not one of those people that says that he intentionally gave his daughter cocaine, but she got cocaine metabolites in her hair and it tested positive for cocaine. I am seriously not saying he gave it to her on purpose. I'm saying I think that he made a mistake and left a cocaine bullet or something where his daughter found it. And then she had it. So a mistake, that is underselling it way too much. Please give him the opportunity to show you his integrity. He is a good man. He fights for freedom and free speech, and that bothers some people. They're trying to take away his voice. Please do not let him. Thank you for taking the time to read my letter. Honestly, of everything in these 3 letters, this last paragraph in here, sincerely, Kayla Rekieta, seems the most pertinent to everything. It's actually acknowledging that he made a mistake and saying that she believes in him and that he can do better. This one paragraph, I personally think, says more than the rest. So, as much as I mocked some of the stuff in this one, I think Kayla actually gave the best there. Now, this is what came out today. this is the actual sentencing report. So, drugs, third degree. Possess 10 grams or more of a narcotic drug other than heroin or fentanyl. Just to give an idea about the amount of cocaine Nick had found owned in his possession, I don't hide from anyone that I have ADD and that I take methylphenidate daily. Methylphenidate is in the same drug category as cocaine. I don't know exactly how much the dosages might line up, but for the hell of it, I took how much was in Nick's possession and I divided it out based on how much I take per day. And what he had in his possession was, I believe, a year's worth of what I take in methylphenidate. Yikes. And you think that he wasn't replenishing that? I don't think that he got a year's worth of cocaine and was just holding it there. I think he was replenishing it. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me on that. I mean, Lord knows if he had just gotten filled up, if he was in the middle of like in between when he'd get filled up, or if it was nearing the end. Who knows? Jeez. Now, it's been he's had his possession of firearms while using a controlled substance dismissed. That's probably part of the plea. And endangering of children in during possession is dismissed. I would assume that that's probably also part of the plea. And I don't have any problems with any of that. I'm just pointing out what the counts are. All of this is just he plead guilty under the drugs, and it's a stay under this. So all of this is just for third-degree possession of 10 grams or more. Penn State, May 23rd. So, sentence details. Ordered on April 18th, 2025, which is today. Well, actually, technically, it was yesterday, because as I am in the same time zone as him, and it is now 12:15 a.m. on April 19th. So, ordered on yesterday. Defendant is sentenced to 30 days in Kandayohi County Jail. And the defendant is to serve 30 days. Credit for time served is 2 days. And now this is the mistake that I think that Nick was saying that people were making, which he's not wrong, they were making it, and I did at first. It says maybe deferred of complaint with probation. I'm not 100% sure what that means. That sentence, don't get me started on the grammar of that sentence unless there is some specific legal grammar going on there that I don't understand. But what I'm assuming that means is that local confinement may be deferred as long as probation is not violated. That is what my guess is. Start date August 1st, 2025. So as long as he's keeping his nose clean, it's going to be deferred, and if he keeps his nose clean the entire time, it will be indefinitely deferred. So good for him. He has avoided jail. So monitoring. Ordered April 18th. Defendant is placed on supervised probation for 5 years. Monitored by Kandayohi County Probation. 5 years. So between now and 2030. Keep that in mind. Between now and 2030. I think that some people, when they are acting like he got some sort of win here, are not thinking about how long 5 years is. At that point, Trump's second term will be up, and we could be into either the new Democrat presidency or a continuation of it. But either way, it's going to be the midterms of the next presidency when his probation would be up. That is how long it will be. So now the conditions of his probation is supervised probation. Defendant must comply with the following conditions. Do not use or possess alcohol or drugs except as prescribed. Now, I don't know what he has prescribed for sure. I do know that he's talked about having modafinil, I believe, prescribed, which I think is the generic name of Provigil. Let's put it this way. It's an extremely big upper. I got no problem with him having it. People could bitch about the fact that I take methylphenidate. It's prescribed. It's a huge upper. Hell, I'm on it right now. Do I sound like I'm going nuts? So I'm not bitching about that. I'm just pointing out that he does have a prescription drug that is a relatively powerful one. But so that would be his except Provigil. And anything else? Do you guys realize that Nicholas Rekieta, one of the names for his show for him was that he was the whiskey drinking lawyer. That's what he was known as. And he's not allowed to use or possess alcohol. That's not even talking about the drugs. Just talk about the alcohol. And he was the whiskey drinking lawyer. 5 years. Oof. Random testing. Submit to random drug and alcohol testing as directed by agent and/or law enforcement. Must submit a baseline test as soon as possible. I'm wondering what kind of drug and alcohol tests those are going to be. Because it talking about needing to submit a baseline test, I did some research on the hair follicle test stuff, and honestly, the reason why a lot of people were making unfounded charges against him when they're talking about how much they thought that his daughter had based on that is because you need to have a baseline to know where it is, and then you could talk about whether they'd had more or less over the last period of time. Just having a high count doesn't mean that you had a lot. That really depends on what your metabolism is. And as a younger child, their metabolism runs like crazy. So the metabolites that were in her hair could very legitimately have been in really high without her having had as much or as often as people were claiming that it was. All that it really showed was that she had something. So that's why I'm looking at the must submit baseline test as soon as possible, is making me wonder what types of tests are they doing? Because a lot of the tests that you do, like if it's urine, it is out of your system in like 24, 48 hours. I don't know the number, but it's a relatively short period of time. But I don't know that they need a baseline for that. But if they want to be doing things like hair follicle tests, that would make a baseline test really, really important. And then they would be able to be monitoring him for stuff like cocaine and things like that, and being able to tell, and like even if it showed that he had something in the last month, then by having a baseline of now, they'd be able to know if he had more or if he had less by seeing if it went up or down. Does that make? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but if it doesn't, I would suggest you go back and watch my video that I made on this quite a while ago. But anyway, find that interesting. Cognitive skill training. Cooperate with cognitive skills programming as directed by your agent. I don't think that many people are looking at this and really knowing what that means. I don't know a lot about it because I am not a therapist, but I work with people with special needs, and some of the training that I've had involves me knowing what kind of behavioral training is, and that has to do with some psychotherapy stuff where they're trying where you're meeting with an actual accredited therapist and working on replacing some of your behaviors with better behaviors, i.e., trying to help them get past the addiction and stuff. And what they're not saying here, but I think is probably part of this, is if his therapist were to actually report that he was not complying with the training, it could be considered breaking his probation. And the way that he was treating the substance abuse groups that they were having him go to, and how he was talking about how he thought that they were a joke and things like that, his therapist could actually very possibly say he's breaking his probation. And when I realized that, I started laughing my ass off. That was about I'd say about 2.5 hours ago that occurred to me. And I just started laughing. And my wife asked me what was going on, and I told her. And she's like, I don't really find that funny, but yeah. And my response was, well, I find it funny because Nick has been doing fuck around and find out, and what he has happening is he is finding out. So, would I want this for myself? No, I would not. Do I think that it is funny that Nick is finding out? Yeah, sorry. I find it pretty funny that Nick is finding out. So then the next one is remain law-abiding. I mean, well, duh. Then again, like I mentioned before about when Megan was saying that this is his first time breaking the law, that he's sped going really fast. That is breaking the law, so that's not law-abiding. So I don't know how. I'm betting that if you're going 5 miles over, they're not going. They'll probably just go and ignore it. But if you're going 30 miles over and you get pulled over, I'm not sure that they would consider that remain law-abiding. Just saying. Sign probation and sign probation agreement. Sign and comply with probation agreement and meet with agent as directed. Okay. Do not use or possess firearms, ammunition, or explosives. Yeah, Nick, with the libertarian ass that he is, by the way, I don't have a problem with libertarians, but I'm just saying, Nick's happy libertarian ass might have issues with that. I kind of wonder if he might have a firearm or two that he has squirreled away that might get found on a search. Here's hoping he doesn't. Obtain permission from agent before leaving the state. Yeah, sucks to be him. Because I know that he likes going to cons, he likes going to various things that are not in Minnesota. In fact, he's talked about how much he hates Minnesota. So for Nick, who does not like Minnesota, that sucks. Sucks to be him. Follow all state and federal criminal laws. Okay, I have to ask. Follow all state and criminal laws and remain law-abiding. Isn't that repeating yourself? I mean, anybody... Now, seriously, people always talk about leave me a comment and let me know. I seriously am going to say, if you know right now, I can say in chat, say something in chat. But if you're watching this later and you know why they have to say both remain law-abiding and follow all state and federal criminal laws, if you can tell me why they have to say both, I would think that one of those would subsume the other. Then contact your probation officer as directed. Duh. Tell your probation officer within 72 hours if you have contact with law enforcement. Okay. Tell your probation officer within 72 hours if you are charged with any new crime. Okay. Tell your probation officer within 72 hours if you change your address, employment, or telephone number. Okay. Sign releases of information as directed. Duh. Cooperate with the search of your person, residence, vehicle, workplace, property, and things. What the hell? And things. Now there's a very specific term, as directed by your probation officer. Follow all recommendations of discharge from Divine Hope Counseling, dated 9/11/2024. Service ordered on April 18th, 2025. Defendant is ordered to perform community work service for 80 hours. Well, that part I hope isn't too bad for him. And hey, Jason Fox, how you doing? I just got finished going over. Dear Lord, it took me an hour and 5 minutes to go over all of the stuff from the pre-sentencing report all the way through sentencing. I mean, I did originally think it might have taken me 45 minutes, but I was thinking like 30 to 45. I didn't expect an hour. So, yeah. That is all of that. And now, I've got to see, has Nick actually, at the very least, announced when his stream is going to be? So let's see. Because, yeah, let's take a look at his channel. Actually, we're going to do this tomorrow. Late and very unhetero. Oh, you fucker. Well, I'm glad that I decided not to wait. Oh, you missed a lot, Jason. You missed a lot. You're gonna need to go back an hour. But I covered everything. I covered everything. Or I covered everything within the last 2 days, I should say. If you want to know anything before the last 2 days, I am here to talk about it. If you have something particularly you want to ask about the last 2 days, I will answer. I'm not going to go back and read all of that again, though. Yeah, no. So I'm going to do a quick screenshot here. Thing is that there's not a... Oh, actually. Print screen. Ah, there we go. That'll work. Can do that. Now let's open that up. Down over the screenshots. It's been a while since I've actually done this, but this should work. Ah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. I just forgot Mangla. Sure, you guys come in and start talking right when I finish. Come on! Come on! But yeah. And yeah, you definitely need to get me on again. It's always fun when I come on with you. So yeah. This is what I was waiting for. I'm glad I decided that that around 11 o'clock that he just was not going to do it. So I decided to do my own. But yeah, he claimed it was to be announced and that it would be soon, about 10 and a half hours ago, that he would announce what it would be soon, 10 and a half hours ago. And I was like, yeah, I was considering making a bet that he didn't make it, that he was going to do it, but after he said he was, I decided to believe him. My mistake. So, now if anyone is curious about what Nick actually did, I can show you what they found at his house. Because people are like, oh, but that wasn't that bad, right? Right? Here we go. So they found a snort tube for cocaine at the master nightstand, and let's see, a vial of white substance, 2 credit cards with cocaine on it. God, this handwriting is worse than mine. In 22 spent casings from the master bedroom. It says Sig Sauer, glass container, bag of cards. There's baggie. Here we go. Digital scale, metal pan with white powder, two short tubes with 2 cutters, $100 bill with white powder residue. There's a bindle bag of white substance powder in the master closet safe, which, by the way, he claimed he didn't. People were saying that he claimed that it wasn't a safe. He didn't exactly do that. He was saying he didn't know what safe they were talking about, which a lot of people were interpreting as him saying in that there wasn't a safe, but he was doing the I'm not there. What are you talking about? And a scooper from the master closet safe. And apparently, if you look up what a cocaine scooper looks like, there's something that. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. My headset has decided that I don't have enough sound going through it, so it assumes I'm not using it, even though I've been talking through it for like an hour and 10 minutes straight. But apparently, if you look up the scooper, you can actually find what they mean by a cocaine scooper, and it's very specific. 2 baggies is in there, 6 Sauer magazines, ammunition, and that's all of the extraneous stuff. It's there. And it's been a while since I've actually read through the stuff. But let's just say that the amount that he was found with was concerning. Like I mentioned earlier on the stream. Very concerning. Okay, so I also have pulled up, if anyone were to want to see it, I did find the infamous Coke string. If anyone wants to see it, it is still up on Odyssey. The fun thing about that, there's a reason why it's still up on Odyssey. He pulled down the YouTube video relatively soon after apparently he regained consciousness the next day. It took a bit longer on Rumble, which is what I had started watching it on when people were bringing it to my attention, and he pulled it down literally while I was watching it. But it's still up on Odyssey because Nick had it set to mirror to Odyssey and had forgotten what his password was. So he wasn't able to access Odyssey to remove the video. I found out about this like a month or 2 later, and ever since I found out about that, I've been finding it hilarious. Now, part of what Nick was trying to actually say, Nick slash his lawyer, but I'm convinced that he wrote most of that particular thing. And he was trying to say that it, the evidence from from the stream could not be used because it was from somebody else who had re-uploaded it, and they had put their own watermark on it. So by putting their own watermark on it, that made it useless as evidence. But it was the exact same length. Everything was the exact same. But it couldn't have been but it wasn't legit because he knew they couldn't have the video because he deleted the evidence. Because he deleted the evidence from his channel. So because he deleted the evidence, you can't get me, you can't get me, sir. I removed the evidence of my wrongdoings. And for that, I'm going to say this, Jason. Come on, man! And yeah, so starting from about, like, okay, share this tab instead. Here we go. Starting from about here.
Bathroom break. I'll be back. Peace.
He's going
Don't
to
go anywhere. Oh my God!
He's going to his bathroom break, and he has a bathroom break song, which a lot of times he runs over on. Don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes it takes you a little bit longer when you're in the bathroom than other times. But he has a song that he has commissioned that goes about as long as it takes him to go to the bathroom. So basically, he's running from his gun safe, which, by the way, that's where he streams from. He streams from his gun safe. And so he's running from his gun safe to go to the bathroom and then come back. So typically takes a few minutes. Got this. Like that.
Hypocrisy.
There we go. And now, okay, he didn't do his actual typical thing that he uses to go to the bathroom, because typically he had a song that went for about like 2 minutes. But we're starting here at 1 minute and 9 seconds. At 1 hour and 9 minutes.
People.
And note, 1 hour 50 minutes, he's still not back. He left us with an empty chair for 45 minutes. What was he doing?
Medic.
Now, I have never been able to see the white powder other people have seen. If you guys can see it, tell me. I think I might see a little bit of it. Is there just a little bit right there? Is that what people have talked about? I'm not sure. But yeah, people always talk about the white powder on the nose. And note, he's back here suddenly with a lot of energy. I didn't show you just how kind of lethargic he was right before he left. Look at him right now.
Forget the principles. Forget your pride. Just throw in the towel and enjoy your life.
So,
again,
now,
tell me you're retarded without saying it.
Lethargic.
There's no like I surrender button.
But he's not.
Oh my goodness. Rumble has a couple of chats here.
Fat
Jimmy 1776 says, please put these $5 towards your court fees.
This is like at about 11 o'clock at night. And right now, he has forgotten to turn the audio back on. Note that. And look at how wide-eyed and awake he suddenly is. And he's doing all this. Da-da-da-da-da. Very gesticulate. Look in the corner. There's a lot of people who talk about the
I'm muted.
Cats.
I'm fucking muted. Jim, God damn it.
But look at just how much.
Let me reread this chat. This is from Medicare.
There we go. Well,
Medicare, if I was Asian.
Completely energetic
he
again.
Said,
what was he doing over that half hour?
Medicare says 45 minutes. I think this might be my fault, chat. I love all these guys. They're fantastic.
And one of the things that the officer that was applying for the search warrant was saying, apparently he's someone that is really that especially is in drugs. He was saying that Nick was showing in evidence of being on on polysubstance. I think is the term he used. Basically, both uppers and downers, and I'm seeing that.
They sued a fucking weirdo under broken rules.
Now let's go a bit further, because remember, this is only 2 hours in.
Congress says,
"Oh wait, you peeing again." This is the PE lawyer song I was talking about.
Exists in the common law for fucking ever.
And to give a little bit of background, Nick had been sued by this fellow named Montegraph, which all of us affectionately called Monty. And I am not alleging. I'm not alleging this. I'm saying this is what Nick had alleged, but he a lot of times didn't say alleged, and he said that he said it because it was true. He talked about Montegraph fucking a pineapple, I think it was, and a few other things like that. And Montegraph decided to sue him, and Nick, instead of making a deal, said, "Fuck this! I'm going to make a GoFundMe and I'm going to fight it." And at this point, on the day that this happened, and Nick is covering the fact that he had lost his appeal. That's why the name of it is "The Results of My Appeal Are In. I wonder how it went." So Nick was already not having a good day when this happened. And
I got a problem.
I'm assuming that that's what the document in the corner there is.
I don't know if it's a PDF.
But now look at him.
I don't know if he's a PDF, but I don't know if Wilshire Boulevard is a PDF.
Look at him now.
All I know is I open.
Look at him now.
Like, oh, a woman golfing. Why would I watch this?
Dang.
And I keep reading. I'm like, oh yeah,
This
man,
is
out
somebody who
golfs her.
totally
it's
has
his-
it together,
her dad.
right?
She's mad about Milagro Tatia. Their contract. Her mom says, "Would you let
So
Aaron
this is
feed
the
your
first
kids
time that
kids
he has
together?"
passed out on stream.
And he cooked him
But-
right, I guess. Are you
Dang.
talking about SpaghettiOs or whatever? You should hire me though.
Look at this.
He's an asshole. An asshole. Right. Anime.
The cocaine of law. I
Anime
miss the
sucks
cocaine of
kelp
law.
and or sneed since Rekieta Law. Share this on stream. User is.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
man.
gonna leave you with this.
I don't know what that is. Fuck off. A bunch of degenerate Japanese shit in my aircon because it can't fucking spade it.
Oh my god.
Anime
Oh, God.
cuck. Starts cups and
Yeah, I
head
just
sneezes.
wanted to remind
Rekieta
people
Law.
a little bit of
I show you
what Rekieta Law looked like
this before
at the point
stream.
that they decided that they needed to execute a search warrant. Not just based on this stream, but I'm pretty sure that the stream had a lot to do with it.
One says tracks.
They executed a
Nice
search
to
warrant
know.
based on
What your favorite
mandatory
food and
reporters
papaya
as
is.
well with his kids. And also with his behavior at
Here we
church
go.
services and things like that. So, yeah. Well, this stream was 4 hours and 4 minutes and 4 seconds. And it wasn't on May 23rd of last year. I think it was May 20th. If I remember correctly, there was like a 3 or 4 day time period between the end of this stream and when his house got his house got raided. I don't remember the exact time frame. And I wasn't watching at the time, but since people had seen me defend Nick in the past, they were tagging me and sending me DMs about this. asking me what the hell happened. Yep. So people were sending me those clips and all this stuff going, what happened? I'm just going, huh? Because I'd only been vaguely following him for the half year before that. Because honestly, this dude had fallen off. I liked him for quite a while. I'd been following him since 2018 or 2019, I think it was. But for at least a half year before this, I was just like, dude, I don't care about what you're producing. You're not doing anything about law or any of that. You've turned it into just a degenerate channel. So I wasn't paying any attention to him, and other than just an occasional, what's going on over there? Then these clips and everything was all over X, and people were tagging me, asking me about it. And so I went and looked into it, was like, holy shit. And so I've been paying attention to really this entire case ever since this stream. So I might not have every fact, I might not have exactly every fact directly at my fingertips, but I got most of them. And dude, it's not good. And today I was just going over the stuff that had to do with the sentencing. I wasn't. Yeah, he was fun to watch at the time. You're right. And the stuff that I was just talking about today was almost all pertaining to the law or talking about stuff that had to do with the sentencing. I wasn't even getting into any of the 3/4-way stuff that was going on for a while. Yeah. Well, he got access to a lot of blow, let's just say. I think that I've got my own theories about what happened, but I'm going to keep some of those theories to myself because that's all that they are. They're theories. And I don't really want to make baseless accusations at anybody. So, yeah. But he said he was going to be doing an entire stream tonight addressing all the people who were talking about his sentence and didn't understand it and needed a Minnesota lawyer to correct them. So I was going to stream snipe his ass, but now apparently he's doing it tomorrow. Typical Nick behavior currently. He used to actually do everything on clockwork. Some stuff we can talk about private. Yeah, I'll talk to you about some of it privately. I just don't want to put out allegations that may or may not be true. Especially on the entire Nick stuff. I've been trying to keep, let's just say, as professional as I can. I'm going to laugh my ass off at what he's doing, but I'm not going to go into gossip and all stuff. My biggest thing is Nick, from when his house got searched to now, he needed to shut the fuck up. He needed to shut the fuck up Wednesday. If he didn't shut the fuck up Wednesday, he needed to shut the fuck up Thursday, and so on. And he never shut up. And then after he pled guilty, but then his sentencing hearing was actually sentenced like 3 months after he pled guilty. You've already told them, I'm guilty. I'm throwing myself upon the mercy of the court. During those 3 months, shouldn't you try to make as nice with the court as possible? Your life is in your hands. It's his hands. Oh, he's streaming on. Well, he said that he's going to be streaming on Rumble and on YouTube. That is where he said that he was going to. So that is what I was looking for, and I saw, and then I found, after I finished covering all this stuff, him putting up at like after midnight saying that he wasn't going to be able to do the stream. Yeah, it was at 11:56. He was working on a technical difficulty with audio. Dude, I am doing this. You actually have a studio. And at 12:04 a.m., he said, actually, we're going to do this tomorrow. Moron. Talk about professional. Real professional, right? So yeah, anyway. With that, I'm going to finish this, and I may still do a stream snipe of it tomorrow. We'll see how I'm feeling. Depends on when he does it. So with that, I'm going to end the stream. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.